All right. What is up, guys? I hope you are having a fantastic week. It was just recently announced that the verbal NDA for pre-Alpha 2 for Ashes of Creation has been lifted. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what I just said, Alpha 2 will be happening this Friday, and everybody that signed up for Alpha 2 will get to participate on the 25th if you've got the key for the 25th. The rest of you will be the 8th. But there's been testing going on before that. There's been testing going on before that to get the servers up and running on a smaller scale. A lot of Alpha 1 testers have been in testing everything, and they now get to reveal their secrets of the testing experience. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I live streamed yesterday, talking to a bunch of people in the community. A lot of it was positive, some of it was negative. And regardless, I think Intrepid's open communication on this is great. Allowing the players to talk about their experience, I think, is fantastic. And that leads me to this. I've been keeping a small secret. I have also been testing pre-Alpha 2, and now I get to talk to you guys about my experiences. Now, it is just the verbal NDA. I don't get to show footage, so I'm just going to have the B-roll of the footage in the background of the latest live stream, just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. It looks the exact same, in my opinion. And so we're going to break down the good and the bad in this video. We're going to break down my experience overall. I obviously am not an expert on all the systems, so any specific design, I just haven't gotten there yet. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's talk about it. Now, I've been doing a lot of research on other games. In one of my most recent videos, I did a discussion on how important Alpha 2s are. And in that video, I went back and I looked at the first year of Baldur's Gate 3. They had 3 years of early access. I know I've said this a million times. I'm sure you guys have heard this from me, but I wanted to kind of glean through what people saw at that point in time. It's tough to see Game of the Year in an alpha, right? That's my point is right now, we can't see what the game is going to be. All we know is like what exists. And so when I went back and I was reading forum posts and when I was reading website posts and everything, a lot of people were like, nobody was predicting Game of the Year, but what they were saying was, there's performance issues, there's crashes, there's bugs, there's a bunch of things. It's not feature complete, but the framework is there, right? The framework for a very good game is there. The story is cool. It's compelling. It's a different game, obviously, but seeing those posts gave me an idea of what to look for in this Alpha 2. It's not so much how few bugs there are. There are going to be bugs. There are going to be disconnections from the servers, but how good are the features, right? How good are the systems? How good does the world look? Is it all just propped up with fake buildings and NPCs running around, you're not really able to interact with them? That's kind of what I was looking for. And so when I hopped into the world, I decided to hop in and run around. I didn't want to spend a lot of time leveling because frankly, the servers are going to wipe on Friday. What's the point in putting 20 hours into something that's just going to eliminate immediately? I haven't gotten into PvP. I decided to explore the world, do some quests, do some commissions, do some artisan stuff, do some combat. And yeah, that's my overall initial experience. First things first, I can break it down as easily as this. The vast majority of people in the Ashes of Creation space are basically polarized in two categories. Either you are so extremely excited and hyped about things that you are excited to spend the rest of your hours for the next years, like invest in an Alpha 2, and other people are basically predicting the end of the world. And so what I would say is if you're an extreme pessimist, you'll probably be pleasantly surprised. If you're an extreme optimist, you'll probably be a little bit disappointed. It's somewhere in the middle. There are a lot of good things. A lot of the systems are there. They're rudimentary and basic. They need to be expounded upon. They need to be improved and fully fleshed out, but they're there. The combat is, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this because people are going to jump to conclusions on this. We're in pre-Alpha 2 right now. I would say that the combat's most similar comparison, I've been playing Greatsword Fighter, so I've been playing Melee Fighter. I think it's most comparable to Throne and Liberty. And I've been breaking it down in 3 categories. Responsiveness of skills. How does it feel as far as how does the character move and function while in combat? And impact. So when you're swinging your sword and you're impacting enemies, what does it look like? I would say responsiveness between Throne and Liberty and Ashes of Creation are very similar. They both feel very responsive. They both feel very active. I would say that as far as feel goes, Ashes of Creation is currently better. In their pre-alpha 2 state, they're better than Throne and Liberty, because Throne and Liberty, when you activate a skill, it has that stand-in-place combat where you're very stagnant. Sometimes when you're going to activate a skill on somebody, it just doesn't work properly because the distance is kind of weird. So it feels a little clunky on Throne and Liberty. It actually feels better on Ashes. But the difference also is Throne and Liberty is a fully released game, and it has more polish, and the impact that your greatsword makes in Throne and Liberty on players, the sound, the feel, the overall impact is better because they're further along in development. And so I think it's a decent placeholder to compare melee combat for Throne and Liberty to Alpha 2 combat. I think the fact that they're really close is promising. Obviously, one has room to grow, and one is more or less a complete product. And so attempting to compare a fully finished product with one that is still in development is always going to be, a poor comparison, but that's the closest comparison I can come up with. A lot of you guys are recently playing Throne and Liberty, and so that if you've been playing Melee, that's what it feels like to me. That's what the combat feels like to me from that perspective. It is rough around the edges, of course. Like there are some times where things don't work properly. Action camera. I've been testing the action camera. It feels out of place. It's not as good as Throne and Liberty's action camera. I will say that. Action camera doesn't work on horseback, so you have to use tab, which is fine. It's just that there's bugs, right? And so combat from that perspective is good. Exploring the world was very cool. I ran around and basically tried not to get killed by mobs and just kind of experience what it was. Very cool from that perspective. The mobs are difficult, and they have a lot of bugs. There's times where you interact with them and everything goes fine. There's other times where you interact with the same mobs and they don't aggro, or you can't target them or whatever. Or there's other times where they can aggro to you and you can't attack them. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs in interaction with NPCs. Some of the NPCs are very tough. The wolves are no joke. I will just say that. But overall, interacting with the NPCs there's some good and there's some bad. There is what I'll say. The crafting systems there's a lot. It's rudimentary relative to what Ashes is trying to do, but there's some stuff there, is what I'll say. They need to expand more upon it, but that's not the point of the current tests. And so this leads me to one of the last things that I want to say. I thought that the performance overall got better as I've hopped in this weekend. Friday was the worst day. Saturday was pretty smooth with a couple hiccups, some rubber banding, stuff like that. And Sunday was damn near perfect. They had 2 different patches. They had one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and the performance has gotten a lot better. Other people in pre-alpha 2 that I have talked to have said that has been the entire case. The difference from a month ago to now is a night and day difference from a performance perspective. They're really honing in on things. Things are like really functional now, and it's been a lot of fun for them. And so what I will say is past performance doesn't lead to full future results on this. They are obviously going to be onboarding a lot more players this weekend. 100,000 plus people have signed on for Alpha 2. And so having 3,000 to 6,000 people hop in for their spot tests and experience these worlds, it's not the same as having 100,000 people in across multiple servers. There's just going to be a difference there in functionality. And so I will say that the performance has been great. Especially yesterday, I was very impressed with it working. I don't expect that to be the case on Friday. And so I don't expect it to fully work right away. If it does, fantastic. I will be very excited about it, just like the rest of you guys will. But I'm going into the expectation that the first couple of months, they're having the servers offline for 4 days for a reason. So I'm expecting it to not go so well, at least the first few weekends. But through the iterations that they've done in the pre-alpha 2 test, from what I've heard from the testers and how they've made improvements, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that whatever issues they have, they're going to get fixed. It may not be fun right away, but I think it will be there eventually. And then once they have everything up and running from a server performance perspective, they will then be able to go in and slowly add all the features that they want to. So phase 2 and phase 3 being a lot more features, a lot more things online to test and experience. But overall, I had a lot of fun. I will be hopping in today. I'll be hopping in tomorrow. I will be having fun running around and testing things. I'll be talking to people on Discord. Our Voices of Vera podcast, we'll be talking about it then as well, our overall experiences. Maybe I'll be able to actually get into some PvP here in the next couple days, just a little bit before Alpha 2. But I I came into it being very pessimistic, expecting it to not be as good as I thought it was going to be, and it was better. There are obviously bugs. There's rubber banding issues, like I said. There are things that are missing, as to be expected, as they outlined. But the core systems are there, in my opinion. There is some stuff there to do. It is a sandbox. You get to interact with players. You get to go kill mobs. You get to do these things. Obviously, the storyline's not online, and so the quests are more town board style quests and stuff like that. But there's some stuff to do, and I had fun with it. Overall, people are going to ask, should I purchase Alpha 2? Should I get into this? I would say don't listen to my opinion on this. I'm telling you my overall opinion on what it is, and our opinions are subjective. What I would recommend is, come Alpha 2's release, watch some live streams. There's no NDA on it. There is nothing that nobody can't hide anything. So you get to go watch streamers and you get to get their firsthand perspective on what's there and what exists, and you get to gauge their feedback. And if you get to the point to where you go, yeah, I really want to get in there and play this, that's when you potentially make an investment. Don't do anything before that. Don't listen to my opinion and go, okay, he sold me. Look at it for yourself. But overall, I had a lot of fun. It's exactly what I expected. I expected some bugs. I expected performance things. I expected these things to happen. I didn't expect the performance I got on Sunday. I didn't expect that. And so that's where I'm pleasantly surprised. And hopefully the onboarding of servers goes well, so that come December, when they start onboarding a bunch of content onto the servers, there's a lot more stuff to do. That's what I have to say on it. I am done ranting and rambling to you guys. That's my first experience. That's where I'm at. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer it. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.